Hello, and welcome to the Substitutes. I'll be your host, Cameron Thayer. Joining me is Owen, who is a Chelsea fan, and Dylan, who is a Crystal Palace fan. Our topics for today are taking a look at how game week 20 went for our teams and also other teams around the Premier League, who sits atop heading into the new year, and also look at the table who misses out due to AFCON and the Asian Cup. And also, we will look at and try and conjure up a team of the season so far and maybe try and agree on one if we can. Boys, how was everybody's New Year so far? Just a few days into it.
It was good. It's good. You guys do anything fun?
Can't complain. Spent New Year's Eve in Boston. That was nice.
I got a picture of Dylan the next morning. I thought that he was in a fight. He looked that tired and that. Oh,
It was
yeah,
a good night. It was a good night.
yeah. Seemed like everybody had a good night. I wish mine was better, but with United, and everything. Everybody else's team won besides mine, I'm pretty sure. Well, Arsenal, but that's Arsenal. All right, so first we'll start off with Owen. You want to tell us about Luton Town and Chelsea?
Yeah. I mean, it was the early kickoff, which I think we all know that we don't like to do. I think we have an abysmal record usually on the early kickoffs. We typically don't win, but the difference was this weekend we got 3 points. You know, we had been saying that a lot, but final score three, Chelsea and Luton Town two. But just got to talk about it. Cole Palmer is unbelievable. 2 goals, 1 assist. Is he one of the signings of the summer? Sure, 100%. 40 million. It's a bargain. He just keeps kind of dragging us on. So all I got to say is, it was a good performance first half. Obviously, first 70 minutes were great. Then we completely lost our heads. Luton came back, scored 2 goals. It was pretty embarrassing. My heart rate was just ridiculous. Every single cross that went in, it looked like they were going to score. But we left Kenilworth Road with 3 points and a happy feeling going into the new year.
How do you feel about Thiago Silva's reactions after the game? Is
I
that
love it.
just
I love
yeah?
it. I mean, you've seen it. Our squad is like one of the youngest in the Premier League. He is one of the only few members of the squad with any sort of maturity, leadership. So I'm glad to see that it just simply wasn't good enough for the last 20 minutes. You can't go up 3-0 away at a side of the bottom of the table and concede two and make it look like you're going to lose the game. If that game had 10 more minutes, honestly, I think we get out of there with 0 points. So he's right to be angry, and he should be demanding more from the rest of the team.
Pochettino ends the year on a little run. Chelsea, winning a few games. A lot of people were like, "Oh my God, what's Poch doing?" And now it's, "Oh, Poch is Poch's here finally." But I think a lot of it speaks to people coming back from injuries, and also he's maybe the run of games they had. I'm pretty sure if you look at their fixture difficulty, it was way down. But hey, sometimes you need those games to get going in your season. So
Yeah,
I
no, I agree. I
can relate
think
to
it
that.
could be a turning point, but as you said, people are coming back. We got Nkunku playing on a regular basis now. Madueke is in the squad, 2 goals, 2 games, and we got people like Carney coming back. We got tons of people still injured. It's insane. I don't know what's going on with the league. It seems like every single team outside of Arsenal has had an injury problem.
I think 4 teams. I know that Brighton, United, Chelsea, and
Newcastle.
Newcastle have had 10 plus players, 10 senior players injured at one time during the season, which is just like unheard of. I mean,
Yet Arsenal still can't run away with it.
yeah, can't even finish top at the start of the year. Oh, and looking for their next 2 games, Chelsea will host Fulham, and Luton travels to Burnley in a big relegation battle for them too. We'll move on to Aston Villa Burnley. Villa win 3-2. I watched probably the second half of that game. Villa beat 10 men Burnley also 3-2 with the
Yeah.
last minute penalty. That definitely was a penalty, but in the end, I just I've been saying it. I don't believe in Villa in this little title run that they have. They don't. It was kind of like United last year, where everybody's like, "Oh, United are title contenders," and then
No one said that.
they did though. They did though. They did though for like a little bit, and then it went away. After we beat Man City, you can't say that that was not a thing.
That was an agenda put forth by your fan base.
But yeah, probably. But I mean, they aren't far off of the top, so I guess technically you can say that they are title contenders. But Burnley lose again. They continue to play good, but just not good enough to win. Obviously, with 10 men, that also makes it hard. But I think Company's days are probably numbered at this rate. I don't.
Yeah, I mean they play good football though. At least that's better than that some teams could say. Man United.
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, Villa continue to win. That's really all that matters. And Douglas Luiz, you gotta have some cojones about you to step up and bury that penalty off the bar twice.
Yeah,
So
bar down.
good on them, and they continue to cook. So we'll see what they have coming for 2024.
I wonder if they invest heavy in January and try to really make a push and secure Champions League or keep up with their title challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I mean, I know the Arsenal fans are all saying they're getting Douglas Luiz in January,
That's
but there's
not
absolutely
happening.
no shot.
No.
There's no shot they let him go. It'd be silly, and it's just not worth it.
I don't really know where they need to invest though, because I mean they've done a pretty good job at building the squad so far.
I would just say depth. I mean, especially with Europe and competition, they keep going further into it. They're gonna play more games, and that's where injuries start to pile up. We saw how it affected Newcastle in the group stage already of the Champions League,
Yeah.
and while the Europa League's not as competitive, at the end of the day, they're still gonna be playing some of the top teams in Europe, and they have to continue to win. So they will need depth, and I think they will invest in January.
Don't they? They a player that they have that's been forgotten, and now I'm completely forgetting his name. Buendia, there it is. Maybe Buendia. They do have
Oh
him.
yeah, he tore his ACL at the start of the season, right? Or in preseason.
No, I think he's coming back actually in the next month or so. I don't know if it was ACL or, but I'm pretty sure.
The ACL turnaround is like 6 months now, which is kind of crazy.
Unless
That is
you're in soccer,
ridiculous.
where you could almost play somehow right now, so that makes zero sense. But let's see. I think. Yeah, early February. Yeah, it isn't. He did do his ACL. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but they have it as. Also, something that happened during the Man United game that will probably end up being a big blow because Alex Moreno hasn't been as good, I'd say, for Aston Villa. Is Luca Dean did something to his hamstring. It looks like he's out
Yeah.
for a little while.
Probably a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I could agree. Definitely some depth, for Villa because of the run of games, kind of sort of thing with Brighton as well. But I mean, I don't know how long Ollie Watkins stays, but I definitely think he'll stay through January, obviously. But I think
Definitely.
somebody's got to start coming calling for him if they're going to call for Ivan Toney, who hasn't even played a game all season, and they're still wanting 100 mil for him.
Yeah.
All
All right.
question is who
That
could
same
get him?
price tag with
Yeah,
Tony
Watkins
at this point.
easily.
You think? Yeah, I guess they'd probably put him up for 100 mil.
That's what they'd ask for at least, because
Yeah.
I mean he's the star number 9 for their team.
That's fair.
And I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in assists right now.
He's got like 8 or 9, I
Yes,
think.
he does. Yes, he is. Yeah, actually, because he had 2 last game. So yeah,
Just crazy.
All right, next we'll move on to Crystal Palace 3, Brentford 1. Palace went down 1-0 in 90 seconds, and I'll let Dylan take over from there.
That was a disaster. 3 simple passes straight through the team. Just absolutely killed the pre-match atmosphere and any enthusiasm towards the game. And I just thought that it's hard to say, but that Roy was actually in danger of getting sacked by the board. But luckily, the little magic from Elise and Ayu equalized around 15 minutes or so. And then as I doubled the lead, or took the lead, with Mateta having a brilliant and 100% planned dummy to allow him through. And then Elise again showing off his magic, adding a third. And I mean, he's
I'm
the way
really,
he's
I'm
been playing
really.
recently.
Go ahead.
I'm prepared to make some maybe outrageous statements about him, but we'll get to that later, maybe.
I just wonder what your team will look like after this season. I mean, obviously, I think that you guys will stay up, but I mean,
Someone's
Elise,
knocking for Elise.
Yeah.
Eze too.
Has to.
Yeah.
Team's gonna get gutted.
Yeah, I think that in some key places, I think that you'll probably hang on to, Decore and because of his injury. But I
That's
think,
the only reason. Because,
yeah,
I mean, Liverpool was sniffing around him at the end of the summer window, and it was still kind of up in the air as if he was going to stay or go.
is Lerma still hurt, or is Lerma hurt, or is he?
No, he was back. He was really good at the weekend.
Oh, okay. I honestly did not watch the game.
He's been playing as the 8 because we got Chris Richards. Hats off to him. I mean, out of position, just doing all kinds of defensive work, but in possession, he's just
America, baby.
Nothing.
American playing over there.
But yeah, if Hodgson could make substitutes before the 86th minute, like Brentford made all 5 of their subs before we even had somebody come off the bench.
A little word on Brentford. And Buemo obviously injured until I think it's March, and Wiss is now off to AFCON for, you don't know how many games it could end up. I think the max games for AFCON in the Asian Cup is if you make the final. I think it's 4 total Premier League games that they can miss. Brentford could be seriously in a relegation battle by then if he were to make it, were to miss 4 games. I even think if he misses a few games and they start to lose, I mean, I think they're not far off of bottom 3. Let me double check.
They're in 16th right now.
Yeah, 16th, 4 points off. 4 points off. And Luton, man, I'll tell you, their home form. They, Owen put it up there. They've played City. They've only lost by 1.
Place to go.
Arsenal lost by 1. Yeah. Spurs lost by 1. They'll definitely beat us. So that's not, they'll get us. That's not even really a worry for them. But so, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, Brentford have lost 7 of the last 8, though, so they're in danger of.
And I don't think they keep Tony in January.
I'm pretty sure the only team they beat in that 8 was Chelsea.
It was actually Luton.
Oh, okay, cool.
Brentford, if you take it back to like 10, though, they did beat Chelsea.
Yeah, just include
the end of October.
But who didn't lose to them? Scott McTominay. Makes sense. All right, moving on. Palace travel to Arsenal next. Dylan, what do you think about that? A little quick preview.
I mean, the way Arsenal's looking, they're there for the taking. I mean, Roy loves to set up in a deep block and frustrate his opponents. And, I mean, Arsenal's front line looks tired and not as creative or dangerous as they have been. So, I mean, crazier things have happened.
I agree. Yeah, and Arsenal do host Liverpool in the FA Cup. But, I mean, then they have a 13-day layoff after that. But still, they do play a game. It's a very tough game against Liverpool. All right, moving on. We'll talk about Man City, which was a very boring game in my opinion. They won 2-0. Not really anything flashy from City either. Kevin De Bruyne, didn't come on either.
He was warming up. He was warming up though. The king is back.
I don't know. As a United fan, I just love, picking little things out of City, but they don't look City this year as much. But I've seen a lot of things
they
where
never do until January.
Exactly.
Flicking on them.
Yeah. And especially because, they're 5 points off top with a game in hand, and they've played that poorly. So now they can just kick on and just take over at this point. 5 points off,
15 unbeaten streak,
and they love catching Liverpool, so that's that's pretty useful
problem
for them. But they won 2-0. Alvarez, I'm pretty sure, has 7 goals, 7 assists. I'm pretty sure he's second in the assist race behind Ollie Watkins now in the Premier League. And Foden scores again, which I
No,
think.
Foden assisted
Oh, yeah,
Alvarez.
Foden. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, other way around. Foden is having his best year, though. I think.
Yeah,
Of
no, he's working well in that system. I think honestly, with the injury to Kevin De Bruyne, it's really brought forth him and Alvarez kind of attacking skill even more so than we have already seen. And they're kind of linking up very well. But it's a question of who's gonna be riding the bench when Kevin De Bruyne's finally fit.
And you just plug Holland back into the system, and he's
yeah.
guaranteed goals.
So before Dylan and I were talking, because we were talking about fantasy Premier League and different assets and such, and I looked back at the last game Kevin De Bruyne played. Obviously, with them was game week 1, and Kev played the 8, and they had Alvarez at the 10. Do you think that they're going to play him at the 8? I mean, I made a point where when they have the ball, he's not really playing the 8. He's playing as another 10 technically because their right back and left back tucks in into
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's probably right. It's probably right. Just have Rodri sitting next to the fullbacks.
that. Does Bernardo
Overcome
drop out,
teams
or with how good Foden's
Bernardo
playing?
probably goes out to the right. Definitely goes out to the right, I imagine. And then it's a question of who's starting on the left: Foden, Grealish,
say you
or
can
Doku.
Yeah,
Grealish
yeah,
just
I'm having that problem.
went from hero to third choice in 6
Yeah.
months.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. Do you think that they will kind of, kick on and be probably top pretty quick, or do you think it'll be a long title race?
I can't see it being long. I think they're gonna just as soon as that team is fully getting together, it's gonna mesh. It's gonna win games. They're not gonna lose. They're not gonna concede many goals. And the defense is phenomenal. And you can see, you can already see the other title contenders in a way. Liverpool drop points in. Arsenal continue to drop points and just show that soft underbelly. And then there's Aston Villa, who you alluded to. We can't really see him being there at the end of the season. And Spurs are Spurs. So I think it's Man City's to lose, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's like the perfect timing for them as well because they've got Salah going off to AFCON, Arsenal kind of having the mid-season woes, and they're about to plug back in De Bruyne and Holland into an already purring system. Like,
Yeah, I think that this is a key time for City, and then they have Champions League, which in years past actually never have they had a tough draw, but now they have Copenhagen, who they
So
could
good.
have done by the first game and not play the youngsters the second one. So it's not really like they have a full congested schedule. I mean, obviously there's FA Cup games, but they'll probably get a lucky draw in that as well. So they don't have to really play anybody. So they do travel to Newcastle next. That'll be I think, big game for Eddie Howe. Yeah,
I can't see Newcastle winning that at all.
I
They
can't
looked
see it
awful
either.
against, or not awful, but I guess kind of awful. Liverpool
They're
running through them.
their XG right now in their last 3 games. I'm pretty sure Liverpool's was 7, but I'm pretty sure it's like
Just crazy.
I think it's 11 in their last 3. Their XG right now, the against goals, expected goals against. So it's kind of wild. Moving on to Wolves 3, Everton 0. Wolves with a dominant display. They have Hee-Chan Huang moving on to the Asian Cup, but also they are flying, I think, under their manager,
Gary O'Neill.
Gary O'Neill. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
love him.
Everton with another poor performance. I think that they kind of had that, high of riding that 10-point deduction, and they're kind of dropping off into a, dice balls kind of not really being figured out, or kind of being figured out by certain teams. But also think that away from Goodison, they're not as good.
It's their last season in Goodison, right? Or is that next year?
Oh, no,
Honestly, I have no idea. I really don't have any idea about. I imagine if this would be their last one, we would have heard more about it, and
I
there would have
think
been.
it's
But
Yeah.
they'd be making a whole thing about the last Goodison tour or something like that.
end of the
Yeah.
2024, 2025.
Yeah, I imagine so. That makes sense. Yeah, but no, as you said, dice ball only goes so far because you get one goal against them, and then they have to break out of it and just get rid of the low block. When teams like Wolves with pace up front are going to catch you out, they're going to score goals, and then they're going to play their own low block against you because they know you can't break it down. So I mean, it's just a question of how far they can go with dice, and they're still hovering around the relegation zone. I know unfairly, well, depending on how you
I was
look at
gonna
it,
say,
it could be fair if because I guess they were cheating, but who knows? So Man City got nothing
We
happening
were
there.
cheating way worse, and they just no, they
Well,
just
you saw the report that Nottingham might be in trouble as well with that, right? Came out
ah.
today, I think.
I mean, I'm not shocked. I haven't seen anything, but I'm not shocked that somehow somebody could conjure up something on Nottingham Forest when they buy
Yeah,
25 players each window.
their owner's a madman as well.
Yeah, yeah, he is crazy. He is crazy. Wolves will miss, like I said, He Chen Huang for a few games. United get to play him
He's a good
without.
player. He's a good player.
He's looking
But
good, but
Pedro Neto,
yeah, I was gonna
will
say
be fully fit.
Pedro
and
Neto is.
Sarabia's finally finding his feet there.
Yeah, he's kicking on. He's kicking on for sure.
I mean,
The
I,
left back, I think, is a big miss. That Noir, I think that's how
Nori.
you say it.
I ignore him.
He's a very good player. He's going to be missed a lot. The confidence he has on the ball kind of reminds me of Marcelo sometimes. It's insane, the traps and stuff. He's a good player.
Yeah, yeah. Wolves are flying. I mean, they're moving in the right direction. It was kind of skeptical of why Bournemouth fired him. They were flying, but now Bournemouth's manager's kind of leveled back out. Do you think that Bournemouth made the right decision, and also Wolves made the right decision in hiring him? Because they both were actually in for the same guy. I'm pretty sure I saw back whenever Bournemouth hired.
Areola, or however you pronounce his
Yeah,
name.
yeah, they
Yeah.
Adama.
both were in for him, but I think he ended up overall going there. So
Yeah.
I mean, for both
Yeah.
teams, I guess they're both doing well, so you kind of just take it as is. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
worked out well. I mean, I think honestly, the Wolf squad is more tailored to Gary O'Neill in a way than the Bournemouth was, or Bournemouth
Yeah.
squad was. So it honestly it works well. Worked out well for both of them, and getting results. Like in the next game we're about to talk about, Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 1. Cam, you want to talk about that?
yep, Forest get their second win under Nuno, and honestly, probably could be 3-0 if they didn't go down to 10 men against Bournemouth at home. They lost that game 3-2 off of a Solanke hat trick in late winter. Um, Yep, Anthony Langa ran right down the right wing, and nobody decided to track Morgan Gibbs White as he ran just free as a bird straight down the pipe of Man United's midfield and passed it by Onana. See, this is the thing of years past that's being saved by De Gea. I know it sounds crazy, but he just always would. He'd make those insane saves where it's just like, how in the world? And we'd get past. And now we don't have it with Onana. I'm not saying we won't ever, but it's just as a United fan, I was honestly so used to seeing De Gea just pull off some crazy save and we get a result out of it. But obviously, De Gea is not here anymore. He could be on the verge of joining Newcastle unless Pope is fit before. So I mean, we'll see about that. United are beaten by Forest for the first time since 1994, which is shocking, and also our fourth loss of the season in all competition for the first time in 93 years. 93
Yeah,
years.
just let that sit in for a second.
Yeah, for a second. Let's do ball. All right, moving on. No, okay. Yeah, and also I back Eric Ten Hag. I like him, but I think that this was a very bad game for him. The commentator said it a bunch. Lee Dixon. I don't know why he did not play Garnacho on the right and Anthony on the left. I mean, it worked really well with Garnacho on the right against Villa, and sometimes when it's broke, don't. I mean, when it's not broke, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that there's just a lot of questionable decisions, I feel. But also, we have a lot of injured players coming back. So I'm very excited for the new year and hopefully the new Man United maybe into the new year. But as a delusional United fan, I'm at least not as delusional as one account that whenever before the Nottingham Forest game, I think I sent it to Michael Fowler, who's also a United fan. This guy said we were 11 points off We're 11 points off Liverpool. We can still title challenge, and he brought up whenever we caught Newcastle, and we were 11
Oh
points
my
off.
god.
Way back whenever we
I
were
was gonna say, was
flying,
it
not
96,
in
97?
turmoil. So I don't. Yeah, and Scott McTominay, if he keeps going with Scooby Doo, he's gonna be gone. That's gonna be the end of him. It was kind of like with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, keep picking Maguire. When Maguire was out of form, they ended up ruining him. So I don't know. I don't know
Do you think
what to say.
you're gonna strengthen in January? Like where would you strengthen? Who would you bring in? What would you do?
With the options that I heard today from Fabrizio Romano of Timo Werner and Aaron Mac and Choupo-Moting. Honestly, I'd probably take Choupo-Moting just because he's been around Bayern, like Bayern players. So like the training and the
Timo Werner is a Champions League winner though.
Timo Werner.
And to be fair to him, when he was playing in the Prem, he does work hard and he does miss tap-ins, but so do your players. I mean, look at what but you need someone who can get in behind, and none of your forwards have proven
score.
they
I
can
don't
do
give a crap if you're going to run for 90 minutes. We need someone to put it in the net. So out of those two, I don't really give me Walt Weghorst again. I mean, Lord of mercy. He didn't score, and so they're no different. But I'd really like, honestly, another attacking midfielder. I think just to help Bruno a little bit.
Oh yeah, because Mount isn't that.
No. I think Mount is a right winger. Like
So you just wasted 60 million on him. You want to bring in another attacking midfielder?
Listen, I never really loved the Mount signing. I just kind of loved it because we took him from you and you love Mount. But I mean, other than that, I never really. I don't know. I really hope we sign Todibo. I think for the center back, I think we may end up, or may not. It might be to the summer. But Spurs were after him. I heard pretty hard, but basically it just was going to take way too long, and Spurs wanted the center back, which they ended up getting one.
Yeah.
But I hope we get at least one more center back. Maybe some players. This is also the other thing. If we're going to buy someone in January, I don't want it to be another loan. I want it to be a player where like Ten Hag can start to like integrate them into his system so he can see if it actually works and it's not just another loan player who's here for 6 months. Like I'm really glad we let Reguilon go, even though Shaw's back hurt probably for another couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks, and then but Tyrone Malacia is supposedly coming back soon, which I haven't seen him.
What are your thoughts on the whole Sancho to Dortmund on loan?
You know what? I'm just ready for him to go. So
I was gonna say, and are you ready to just sell him based off of whatever he does if he does go back there on loan?
Yeah, I don't care if he goes crazy. He can go, honestly, because it'll probably drive his price up just a little bit. I heard also that West Ham are kind of interested. I mean, obviously Dortmund's the big one that I've heard also, but I've heard West Ham are kind of keeping tabs on it. But his wages are way too much. It was kind of a factor when Lingard went there. Lingard had to cut his wages a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think Sancho will. The party man. So
he's on 350, right?
Yeah,
that's the rumored.
Yep,
it's crazy. Yep.
Great.
So and Varane, I've heard a lot of reports, which Fabrizio kind of cleared up. Basically, Varane feels like he's being pushed out, but United just want to offer him a new contract that's not $350,000 a week, which I'm okay with, even though
makes sense. But
even though we offered Lindelof a new contract, but it's nowhere near $350,000 a week. It's way less. So, but moving forward into the new year, I have high hopes because we do get a lot of players back. We get Casemiro back. We get Sandro Martinez back, which I think should be our captain, to be honest with you. After watching an interview of him talking about what it means to play for United,
Do you have confidence in the second string that you bought in from Turkey this year? Well, Onana's gone for AFCON.
Bayender, I think it'll be very, very helpful that we'll have Lissandro Martinez back and hopefully Luke Shaw will be back and then Casemiro. I think if he has our full, closer to full 11, that'll help. I haven't seen much about him, or of him because Ten Hag wouldn't even play him in, the Carabao Cup game. So maybe he'll play him this in the FA. Well, obviously he'll have to play him in the FA Cup unless he plays Tom Heaton, which I pray to God he does not because I don't want to see him again. But yeah, I have confidence in him to get by maybe 3 games. I think we also have a decently okay run of fixtures. I know we play Spurs next, and then it's Wolves away, which is going to be quite tough. Yeah,
It doesn't sound decent at all, mate.
Spurs home. No, Spurs home. I don't think Van de Ven will be back yet. Madison first game back if he is back. No Son.
I mean, they're still
I kind of make my odds.
pretty decent form though, at least.
Yeah, but it's Spurs on the
And
word.
he just keeps them ticking though.
A high line against Hoyland, Rashford, and Garnacho. I'd kind of like my odds, but I'll come back here and get a blooper made of me. So that's be great. All right, moving on from that terrible team to Tottenham, the team that we were just talking about. Tottenham 3, Bournemouth 1. Spurs cruised by Bournemouth, even though that they got outshot. I think Solanke had 5 shots in 20-something minutes, which probably produced them to having 22 shots. With goals from Son, Richarlison, and Sarr. Richarlison scoring goals. I think I was trolling Walker in the group chat. He's got as many goals as Bukayo Saka this year, which is kind of funny. As they go back 5th and sit just 1 point off their London rival Arsenal, Bournemouth's run of 7 unbeaten in the Premier League comes to an end and now just sits 6 points off European places and also have a game in hand, which is wild because they did not play that game against Luton to finish that one. All right, now with the questions, how much will Spurs miss Son? He could miss as many as 4 games. I think his group is pretty easy, and
they should be favorites.
They should be favorites.
Them and Japan probably.
And then
not big on the Asian games, but
I'm not either.
Those 2 come to mind.
Yeah, but I
think it'll be massive. I mean, obviously it's aided by the fact that Madison's coming back, but I mean he's the captain. He's their joint goal or top, just their top goal scorer. I saw a stat today. It was like most big chances missed, and Son was like at the very bottom of the list on like the 10th most XG expected or whatever. So he's just outperforming
by like 5 goals or something, I think.
Yeah,
and he has
it's
like
insane.
1
I mean, he's
missed chance on
clinical.
the year.
Yeah, he's close, and he takes pens too. So you got to think about how that comes into a play because pen is I think 0.8 xG as well. So it's just incredible how good he is. So I think he's going to be a massive miss. Madison coming back, he's not the best on the left wing. So it's really a question of who's going to play out there. Do you bring Brennan Johnson out there? Does Kulusevski go out wide now that Madison's back? It's just it's up in the air. They got good players, but none are just as good as Heung-min Son. So I think it's going to be kind of tricky for them sometimes, especially when they need a goal late because he's kind of the one they usually go to.
Yeah, 12 goals and 5 assists in 20 Premier League matches kind of speaks for itself.
Well, and Spurs too. They're gonna be missing Bissouma, and I guess he came off hurt at the weekend, didn't he? Pape Sarr.
He did. Yeah.
Yes,
but yeah, he's still supposed to go to AFCON, so that's gonna be a huge miss for them in the middle. Have to go back to like Højbjerg.
Bentancur's back.
What did Bentancur? Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't he make a really fast recovery?
Yeah,
he's back.
Even Fabrizio, I thought that it was. I had to check it, but even Fabrizio posted that he was supposed to be back in late February, and he's already back. He said it was an amazing turnaround.
Yeah, so that'll help a little bit. But
the games that Son will be most definitely missing will obviously be the home match against Burnley in the FA Cup and the away game against United. And then if they get out of the group, then he'll obviously miss the home game against Brentford. So at least maybe the fact that they're playing home in one, two, three, 2 out of the 4 games might help. They also, you know, play Everton away, which Everton are good at Goodison, but it's, you never know. It's a tough place to play. But I don't know. I think the miss will be massive, but I think that with players coming back, it'll kind of be aided and helped, like Owen said. Um,
Yeah, and then Mickey Van de Ven's back. That the defense isn't gonna concede as many. It's not gonna be as leaky as it has been. And
Yeah.
then they just gotta figure out the kind of not getting so many red cards. Like it seems like they're missing a key player every other match. Like
yeah,
Adugi has got 2 red cards, I think. Romero is always likely to get one. If
Basuma
you could
got
bet on
sent
Romero to
off.
get a red card, I would do it every game.
yeah.
Um,
Now he's out
it's
hurt.
just yeah, exactly, for 3 to 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
it's going to be tough, but I do like how they're still sticking to kind of Ange's philosophy and just playing out from the back no matter what, and attacking teams no matter what. So at least it's fun to watch Spurs, and I think they'll be fine. But I think obviously Suns still have a huge miss.
Definitely one of the most entertaining teams to watch this season is Spurs. There's a little news on Spurs with Hugo Lloris going. Um, you know, that's
Stateside.
probably,
Good
it's a
servant,
great
but his time is done.
MLS. I mean, bar Harry Kane, he was probably one of the more popular players there here recently. World Cup winner. Um, he
He's a
had his up
captain
and
too.
downs. Yeah, captain as well. Ups and downs at Spurs, but
Was
overall,
there
I think.
for 11 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
300
great
or
career.
400
Didn't win
appearances.
anything though, did he?
No,
Nah.
nope. He did play the Champions League final, which is,
And lost it.
Yeah.
yeah, I miserably lost that. A little side note on Bournemouth: Solanke has 12 goals and an assist in 19 games. I think he could be going somewhere, maybe in the summer, if not, maybe in
I'm
January.
seeing teams linked for January. Yeah.
I would, Tony 100 mil or Solanke for 50, and he's not, and he's been playing. As an Arsenal fan, I wish Walker was here to ask him that, but I mean, 50 mil for a player that's got 12 goals, prim proven, knows what he's doing. Kind of hard.
Don't Liverpool have a buyback clause on Solanke?
I have no
I
clue,
would
to be
doubt it.
honest.
I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, obviously they got Jota
was
back,
gonna
which is
say they've
massive
got-
for them, but Darwin Nunez has just been struggling. But that could be one to watch.
Yeah, we'll move straight into Liverpool. Liverpool made it pretty hard on themselves in the end, but ended up winning 4-2 after Salah converted a PK when he missed one in the first half, but he changed his boots. Something about the boots, I guess.
Did change his boots.
Changed his boots, scores 2 goals, and adds an assist. So I guess those boots are never going to be worn again by Mel. They have been since the start of the year. They are top of the league. They are 5 points ahead of City, which I think is the closest. They're 3 points ahead of Aston Villa. But City do have a game in hand. So if City win the game in hand, they're only 2 points ahead. Mo Salah also going for the golden boot. Since Haaland's been out for so long, he's kind of let him catch up,
He's
which
always in the running for it.
But everybody's like, has Salah fallen off a little bit just because he hasn't
It's
scored every
insane.
single game.
It's
And
insane, dude. It's insane. Like, how can you say
14
that Mo
goals,
Salah's having a bad year?
He's got-
Like,
He's up to
14
100.
goals, 8
It
assists.
was 150 for Liverpool now, right? In the Prem?
Yep.
yep. He's I think like
Just
I don't
crazy
know if
numbers.
this is correct, like maybe the 9th or something player to score 150 goals for the same club in the Prem.
He's not far off Rooney, which is actually surprising. And I think, yeah.
He's number 10 in the all-time list right now.
I do think he is going to be a massive loss though for Liverpool. If you've watched them a lot this season, you will see that he is kind of he's the everything that makes him click. Like without him, they got Trent, they got a bunch of great players, but it seems time and time again he kind of takes the game by the scruff of the neck. And you can see like he's developed into a playmaker as well. So everything kind of goes through him. And I think they're gonna struggle, and I think we might see City just leap them a lot quicker than people might imagine.
Yeah,
And they've got
I
all these
think
options. They've got all these
he
options
left
up front,
5
but
points
nobody's
clear.
like for like
Do that.
to play off the right. They've got a bunch of either you could say left wingers or strikers or number 10s, even at that. But
I mean, the only player I guess you would put there is Jota, but that's just because Jota
maybe
can play anywhere.
maybe Gakpo as well. But still, that's not. It's like putting a square in a round hole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, I think they might be best. Well, and then you'd have to drop Diaz. I was saying they might be best just playing 2 up top, but you can't drop Diaz.
You
But
don't really have the midfielders for that.
no,
Put Harvey Elliott out there and just lose. Like
I mean, Gakpo at right wing just sounds comical just because he's not fast at all. Maybe Darwin.
Oh, actually, that's a good point, Dylan. I wouldn't be surprised to see Harvey Elliott out wide, actually, left-footed as well.
I do like that call. Let's talk
But
a little bit about
Newcastle. Yeah, they're struggling.
Wow. They lost their 3rd straight game, and in those games, it is Nottingham Forest and Luton Town they have lost to. Nottingham Forest, they obviously lost at home. That was that shocking game that they lost 3-1, where Chris Wood bagged a hat trick.
Yeah.
They now sit 9th, 11 points off of 4th place Arsenal, which last year they were a top 4 team, obviously played in Champions League. I mean, there's a lot of questions being asked about Erik ten Hag. If there's not questions being asked about Eddie Howe, then obviously, the media just hates United. But I mean, that's just how it is anyway. But
I mean, they've got as many losses as wins this year.
yeah.
Just check that. That's
yeah.
I think he is in the hot seat because, I mean, I know he's done a great job turning them around from a relegation side to a top 4 side, taking them to Champions League. But at some point, the owners are going to want a consistent European football. And obviously, at the moment, it doesn't look like they're going to have it. Obviously, they're struggling with injuries, but at the same time, every single other team is. So how often can you use that excuse? Honestly, I think it's about time that they kind of stop using it in a way, because they do have the likes of Isak back, Gordon still playing, Miley's come out and been a complete wonder kid. And, it's just a question if the owners are putting pressure on Howe to win trophies and perform, because they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup. What are the odds of them winning the FA Cup with, the likes of City still in there? And it's kind of wild, because I don't know, it might be another year of no silverware for Newcastle.
Yeah, which, after last season, you would have thought they would be doing something, last 8 of Champions League, round of 16, maybe, getting knocked out of Champions League, staying in Europa League. But it's none of that, and they could be, I don't know, they also lost to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, so, they're out of that. But I think questions will have to start to mount for Eddie Howe. I don't think they had to turn around very quickly. They've started to get some key players back from injury. I know they've lost a few as well, but when you play Luton and Nottingham Forest, I know that Man United just lost to Nottingham Forest, but they did face them at home on Boxing Day. I'm pretty sure, Boxing Day. In front of the Geordie fans, you would think that they would pull something off in the end, but wasn't meant to be for them. But yeah,
they'll spend big. They'll spend in January, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean,
he kind of seems like a victim of his own success, though. Overachieving so much last season, and now
exactly like
it's
Erik
just
ten Hag.
all too much.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. That's why they're right next to each other on the table.
Exactly. That's why we're 2 points off each other. Oh, anyway. Okay, so Liverpool, like we were saying, due to AFCON, will be missing Mohamed Salah for the FA Cup against Arsenal and 2-legged tie against Fulham. And also their group. I've seen Egypt's group. I don't really know much about Egypt, obviously, but they're very easily they're favored, I'm pretty sure, to come out of the group. Which is
I imagine the favorites will be Ivory Coast, Egypt, and Senegal, and maybe Cameroon and Algeria.
Yeah.
Morocco too now, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming off the World Cup.
Maybe Amrabat will perform for them, but
you can sell him.
Yeah.
Isn't he on loan? You guys didn't even buy him, did you?
Are you serious?
Yeah, we don't have a player signed until I don't know. We signed Mason Mount, but we
Had to.
So I mean, we've already kind of touched on it. Liverpool are going to miss Salah a lot, obviously. Depends on how many games he misses, but every game that he does,
Well, Endo as well for the Asian games. He's
well, that's just another midfielder missing. So yeah, that's
he's been exactly what he's built up to be, though. Super consistent, just keep things ticking, holding down the
He's a
midfield
tidy
for him.
player, definitely a tidy player.
I haven't watched a lot of Liverpool recently, but has he dropped off a little bit from the start of the year where everybody was like he's signing this summer?
Yeah, he definitely has. I think he definitely came in at a peak, and he's definitely slowly declining a little bit. But that happens, and he's playing a lot of games. He's playing the midweek ones as well. So I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him, especially that Liverpool midfield's not super balanced just yet. With the return of McAllister, I'm sure it'll ease him up a bit, where he can push forward more. Because I've seen him, just around the box defending a lot, which I thought was a bit odd, but. He's definitely had a bit of a decline, but you can still see there's a good player in there.
He came off with the injury as well, though, didn't he, against Newcastle? Did his hamstring or something?
I think he got a knock. Yeah.
Oh, who knows? Liverpool could be without a few key players, and I think Alexis McAllister's not back either. Oh,
I think he came on the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
He had an amazing through ball for the to penalty.
Yeah, which we can talk about that penalty. I mean, that's not a penalty. I don't know how in the world that is called a penalty.
I just don't get why he'd rather throw himself to the floor than score the goal. Yeah. It doesn't make much sense. I mean, I know that there was a tiny bit of contact, but not enough to bring you down, especially two steps later. Yeah. Like it was a dodgy decision. I don't know what VAR really was thinking, but at the end of the day, they were probably still going to win the game. So that's life. But that's just a live VAR pool. Strikes again.
All right, real quick, we'll talk about West Ham Brighton. They played to 0-0 draw. Ariel had 8 saves, which last game against Arsenal he had 10. So he is single-handedly, I think, saving West Ham here recently. Brighton had a 2.48 XG. I think the game kind of speaks to the scoreline. Kind of just a very
it was dull. It was dull. There were a few chances here and there. Evan Ferguson came on. He played well. It was a good little cameo. But, I mean, other than that, I don't really have much to talk about this game. It was kind of just the typical, snooze fest. Which was a good result for Chelsea.
What's it called?
Whisper it quietly.
Brighton's it's Brighton's first clean sheet of the season, I believe.
Wow. Yes, actually, now that you say that, it is. Yeah. That is their first clean sheet of the season.
And then
Brighton's back.
I saw another stat that it was I think it might have been 100 games or so at the London Stadium since there was a 0-0 draw. So like 3 or 4 or 5 years even at this point. But yeah, records were broken today.
Wow. For a 0-0 draw.
The streaks were snapped.
So due to AFCON and the Asian Games, Brighton will be without Matoma. Which they've been without for a little while now due to an ankle injury.
Yeah.
The Palace game. And West Ham will be without Kudus, which I think is a big miss. Owen obviously admires the player a lot, but
good player.
Obviously, as they saw today, it was very hard, to create chances without him out there due to the legs.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of gives a different edge in a way to West Ham because then you can play Bowen through the middle. Rather than out wide, then Kudus does all the running in behind. He can hit it with his left foot, can hit it with his right foot. The thing about him too is he tracks back phenomenally well. He makes tackles well. He's a solid player. Before he was at West Ham, there were instances where he was playing holding mid for his club. So this kid is just ridiculous, and I think he's going straight to the top, and it's going to be a massive, massive miss for West Ham. I wonder if they do any business just to kind of get a stopgap for a couple matches, because isn't Paqueta hurt as well?
Yeah, he is. Yes. And he's been excellent.
Lighting it up.
These last
few games. That could be a long miss too, hamstring I mean, you never know about those. It could be 2 months. It could be 3 weeks. I mean, anywhere in between there. Their games that they'll miss with Kudos will be the game against Bristol City in the FA Cup, which they should be okay without him, I think. And then they obviously play Sheffield January 21st away.
Should be able to win that.
Um, those are the games that he'll confirm miss. And then if they get out of the group stages, he'll also miss the game against Bournemouth and Man United. So I'm liking the sound of that if they can get out of the group stages. I'd love to not have to play Kudus. But, I mean, I think West Ham are definitely overperforming as well. Moyes has his boys on flyer right now. So, and they're on.
He's good for this, though. I mean, I think, finished 7th or 8th twice in the last 3 years or something. Or maybe twice in the last 4 years to get them qualified because they've been in Europe for a few years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they finished 14th last season, but that was strongly due to the fact that they were they won.
They were going straight for Conference League last year. That's all they really cared about.
And they got it. That's up to them.
All right, well, now we'll talk about the picture we all really wanted to talk about, but he never joined Walker. Yeah. Arsenal won, Fulham America 2. Bukayo Saka hit them in the 5th minute with the goal for Arsenal, but after that, it was all Fulham on the score sheet. I don't know about the game, but Raul Jimenez scores again, which is shockingly his 5th goal in the league.
Isn't that 5-5 or something like that?
Yeah, but he got sent off in one of them as well.
And if you know, he had 2 against Forest and then scored against West Ham. And they got sent off against Newcastle for I don't know if that was something off.
Interesting jump.
Yeah, interesting. Just interesting in the head decision. And then obviously scored against Arsenal. Arsenal. Wow.
Struggling.
Wow. I don't really know what to. I mean, I can't really say much as a United fan, but they're not doing well. They're not doing well at all. And I think they've got a lot of key positions that they need to bolster. I think ones that are not being talked about as much are their wingbacks. I mean, Zinchenko is not cutting it, and I know they have Timber, but he's hurt, so obviously he can't play.
Well, it seems like Ben White has been carrying a knock for the last couple of weeks. Apparently, Saka.
They got Tomiyasu back. I know he was playing against Fulham, but Zinchenko is horrible defensively.
And the Kiwior experiment at left back is just not something that should happen again.
He's just not good. Or he's just not good enough for the Premier League. Not right now. I mean, maybe down the line, you never know. But Kiwior, or however you say it, is not enough. And it looks like Saka's limping through the season again.
Yeah, that's
he gets played so much. Arteta doesn't give him any rest. He plays him in everything.
But he's got options to rotate him, which doesn't.
He does.
He's got Reece Nelson, Trossard, Emile Smith-Rowe as well, who's just been a passenger.
He can't get a look in now.
Reece Nelson, I actually saw something today that he is being looked at by West Ham as well. West Ham are keeping their tabs on Reece Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, just the Arsenal attack doesn't look as potent as it did last year. Jesus seems to be doing literally everything outside of scoring, and honestly, he works hard. He does work hard. I'll give him that. But Martinelli, I think is. I mean, I think you guys know what I think about Martinelli. I think that he is incredibly overrated, and it's kind of showing. Mikhail Mudryk is more open play goals than him and everything like that. It's just like it's ridiculous that Arsenal seem to think they have the second coming of Neymar, but he's really not that good. And he's good. I know he's good, but I think he's incredibly overrated. And then Odegaard, I don't know what's going on with him. It seems like every single match that it really matters, he kind of ghosts or doesn't break down the lines or anything, just kind of disappears from the limelight. And I think that's why they're struggling. It's the same thing as last year.
Y'all remember when people were rating Odegaard over Bruno Fernandes? That's kind of funny now to think about, because Odegaard had one, not even a crazy season, just kind of connected the team.
15 goals and 8 assists, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that last year.
I think Bruno had 20 20, I don't remember how many it was, but he completely transitioned United into a different team whenever he came in January.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Uh,
did light up the league for that 5 months
yeah,
or however long.
whenever he came in and let us finish second, which was during the COVID year. But yeah, I don't know. I think obviously you got the Ivan Toney rumors for Arsenal. If he'll play.
I think he's an Arsenal player. I think it's pretty much set in stone. I think that's like one of the worst hidden secrets in transfer news that Ivan Toney is going to be an Arsenal player by the end of this window. Um, but yeah, I mean, outside of him, I think midfield. I mean, obviously Declan Rice is good, but he's been off the ball the last two matches. I think they need some depth just to give him rest. They are playing in a ton of different competitions. Obviously, Liverpool next to the FA Cup at one point or at some point, it's going to be too much for the squad they have. I don't think they really strengthened enough. Kai Havertz, as we can see, was not the best signing in the world. He did have his purple patch of a month, and their fans thought he was the best thing in the world. But as a Chelsea fan, I've seen that in the last 3 years, where he's good for about a month and a half, and then he goes back to his same old crap. So I just think it was a silly mistake. He's no Xhaka, who's by the way phenomenal right now for Leverkusen. So
The
I
team
think
as a
they've made
whole,
some
yeah.
mistakes. And yeah, I mean it's a struggle for Arsenal at the moment, and I could not love it more.
It's very surprising that Xhaka came out with a interview and basically the club pushed Xhaka out, but Arteta brought him back for last season. Like he said that, I'm pretty sure Xhaka said that he was packing up his stuff to the point where that's how close he was to leaving the season before, and Arteta talked him into it. But I never really got them letting him go after seeing what he did.
Yeah.
I would have offered him, 2 more years. Heck, if Man United can give Johnny Evans a contract, I mean, how can't they get Granit Xhaka a contract? But I mean, I don't know. I guess.
They're still happy to employ Partey though.
Yeah, which what's wrong. We'll leave that at that.
Yeah, but Fulham, on the other hand, are no joke. Literally no joke. They're playing well, getting results. The team seems to be finally meshing. We play them next, West London derby, and we'll just see how that goes. But I think they're playing really well, and could be a force in the second half of the season. Maybe nicking some points off some of the top six as they fight for Europe spots.
Yeah, Fulham played well. Definitely and beat Arsenal. I think that they had that game where Raul Jimenez got sent off, and then they lost. The next two against Burnley and Bournemouth, but they also didn't have Raul Jimenez, which is proving to be a pivotal part for them. It seems, up top. But before that, before the game where he got sent off, they won 2 games 5-0 each. So I do agree. Yeah, I think they are finding
Surprised how
form
well
maybe a little bit.
surprised how well they've been able to cope without Mitro this season and not really having a
Yeah.
solid
Like not
a
being in a
first
relegation
choice.
battle.
Yeah, not having a first choice replacement for him.
Yeah, I mean 9
Like
points adrift.
like Raul is getting the job done, but he was like a £3 million transfer or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've got a lot of money in the bank if they wanted to
Yeah.
spice things up.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I mean they got obviously the EFL Cup against Liverpool, where no Mo Salah, like we talked about, no Endo. So how much will Klopp really look at that? I would think that he would obviously that's a chance to win silverware. So I would think he'd probably throw out the best lineup he can, but you never know, Jürgen. You never know. So they do have Liverpool, Chelsea, Liverpool in the span of 14 days. So that's a pretty tough run.
Yeah, not ideal.
pretty crazy run of games there. Well,
I think that's it for the game week 20, right?
yeah, that wraps up game week 20. So as we'll look at the table, Liverpool obviously sits top, like we've talked about. 3 points clear of Villa, 5 clear of City with the game in hand. The bottom three, Sheffield United, Burnley, Luton, the teams that were promoted. Sheffield United with 9 points after 20 games.
Jesus,
I don't
49
think that
goals.
they're, you know, conceded 49 goals
Yeah,
as
that's
well. And,
mental.
you know, there's no way they stay up. Absolutely no way.
Squad's just not good enough.
No, I mean,
I feel like
I
it's
don't know when they mathematically can be, obviously done, but I think it will be with like 8 games left. I would not be surprised at all.
yeah.
I don't see anything changing drastically for Sheffield. Um,
I mean, they're already 7 points off Everton.
yeah,
That's
yeah. And who took a 10-point hit? So, I mean,
Yeah, which is
yeah. And then, I mean, Burnley, I don't know. There's an outside chance. Maybe if they get a manager, they get a new manager bounce somehow and go on a crazy run, but I don't even know what the manager would be. Luton are the only team I would say that could do it, and it's just probably because either Brentford or Everton's 10-point deduction or Brentford falling down, like we said that they could without Wissa for a little bit and Embuemo for as long as he's been out.
I
So
know
I think
Nuno's
Forest
up to
will kick
that.
on. So I don't think Forest will get trapped into a relegation battle.
I could see it falling off because I mean Nuno at Spurs didn't he? You had like back-to-back manager of the months, and then the wheels fell off.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
it's a
So
lot
I don't
different
know. I
projects
mean,
and everything, but that's also
I
me just trying to distance Palace from this talk as much as I can because it has not been very pretty recently. But
how do you feel about your side? How do you? I think who do you have coming? You got to go to Arsenal, obviously, which
yeah,
is not a terrible time, I guess. Well, I don't know. They'll get a little bit of
we
rest.
need. We don't have a lot of money to spend in January, but I've seen that they want to use, which I don't know why at the beginning of the season they didn't look into the two loan spots, but I think we'll definitely look to capitalize on that for a left back, midfielder, and either a left winger or not so much a striker anymore. Actually, Mateta's played his way out of the transfer links, and the club's finally realizing they never replaced Zaha. So
Nah, I use there. Running
gone
man.
to gone to Afcon.
Yeah.
had the most dribbles though for 2023.
Probably most fouls drawn too. I mean, he is a proper shithouse.
So with top five could be Champions League. Chelsea sits 11 off of Spurs in fifth, and United sit eighth off of Spurs in fifth. Owen, if 5 spots are given in the Champions League, do you think there is a shot in the dark that Chelsea could finish fifth?
I don't know, probably not. I just think it's a little too far off at the moment. I think we could maybe get sixth or seventh if we continue to kick on a little bit. But never say never. We've seen Tottenham
Yeah,
absolutely capitulate. And if people keep losing games, if people keep not having a consistent run of form, we see Aston Villa maybe get a little shaky in the second half.
pick up some
Who knows?
injuries.
Maybe Arsenal just bobble. Yeah, injuries as well. Maybe we've had our 10 injuries. Maybe it's time for Arsenal and some other teams to have some injuries.
Yeah,
But I'm going to say I'm not too optimistic on it. But I can't wait to hear your delusional take on if Man you can.
It's not delusional at all. I think the only thing that for both of us going forward is that West Ham and Brighton are in Europe, and we're not. So they'll have more
Yeah,
games, and more chances of injuries. But I'm not really much as worried about West Ham. Brighton, the fact
West
that
Ham will
they've
fall off.
played, yeah, West Ham will fall. But the fact that Brighton have played not good, really, and they sit level on points with us is kind of a little worrisome. But like I said, they're in the Europa League, so they'll obviously have to focus on that a little bit. Spurs, I don't know. I think that there's either overachieving going on, or they just keep on a kind of upward path. But like I said, I think this next month for them is we could see we play them, so we could gain some ground there. But I'm not too optimistic because I do think that Ange kind of has his DNA and what's going on all over Spurs, and they're loving it. But I don't know. There's just a lot going on at United right now that the football side is not even really like at the forefront of fans' brains. Like we're just more worried about who we're going to sign next or who's letting go or you know. So I'd say I'm not very optimistic, even if there's five places. If there's four, then we're definitely not getting in. Um, if Villa drop off, it will be Spurs to overtake. I don't think it. I mean, we're 11 behind Villa. Maybe if Villa tied against. So I don't. Yeah, but I'm not too optimistic as much as Owen thought I would be.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, just look at the table. So obviously we got Everton 17th, Brentford 16th, Forest 15th, Dylan's Palace at 14th, Fulham 13th, Bournemouth 12th, Wolves 11th, Chelsea win, lose or draw 10th, Newcastle 9th, Man U in 8th, Brighton 7, West Ham 6, Tottenham 5, Arsenal 4, City 3, Villa 2, and Liverpool top of the league heading into the new year.
All right, fellas, who is your team of the season? We will start first with the just team overall team, and then we will do just a little create your own team of the season. I'll start.
Yeah, I'd say, oh, you start. Go ahead.
I'll start. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that my team of the season is definitely Aston Villa. Overperforming like crazy. They're still in Europe. Obviously, then there's the FA Cup match that they have, so they're still in FA Cup. I don't know. I think Unai Emery's got them playing solid. I wouldn't say that they're buzzing right now, but that's also Christmas fixtures, a few injuries here and there. I mean, I think that they'll be a-okay whenever Premier League games kick back up, especially since they played December 30th and they don't play another Premier League games until January 14th. So I think that a little bit of rest and also an FA Cup game against Middlesbrough, who will have an eye on their EFL Cup game against Chelsea, so which they're a lot further in. But you never know. I mean, Villa is a up and down team. I think they could have a great start of the season and completely fall off, like West Ham, with focusing on Europe and such. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this will be fairly unanimous. I think it's like Villa is
Yeah.
definitely the team of the season. I think the only one that could have maybe a shout is Tottenham, but they went on that little bit of a rocky streak. But I think it kind of speaks for itself when you look at Villa's league position, and the fact that I think they're the winningest team at home for the entirety of 2023. And they continue to build, so we'll just see if they continue with the highs in 2024, or if it's kind of same old for Villa.
Yeah, I mean, not much to add. They've just been excellent, really, and blew everybody's expectations out of the water.
I think
Yeah,
you can
I
make a
agree.
case for Spurs. I do agree with that. I think new management, you know, um, if they didn't have the injuries, who knows? They could be sitting top. I mean, you really never know. I hate to say that about Spurs, but
Yeah,
I don't really wholeheartedly believe that they'd be sitting top, especially because Liverpool or and that's another thing we kind of take for granted. We're talking about team of the season so far. Liverpool are sitting top with a whole new midfield. Um, so I mean, they do have a DNA of winning, so I get that, but I think that they got to get their plaudits as well. As much as I hate to say
yeah.
it. Um,
Outside shout, I really like Wolves and what O'Neill's been able to do there on a limited time before the season with Lopetegui walking, being upset with the board, and he's come in, got everybody
Yeah,
together real quick, and sitting a point
yeah,
or level on points with Chelsea. So
yeah. I mean, and before the season, I saw people saying they think Wolves could go down.
yeah,
So
and he's
he's
got
really had a good turn there.
all his most important players are taken. You've got Cunha. He's a 40 million pound investment. I think he's finally being regularly involved. Neto, obviously, brilliant start to the season. Huang picked up where Neto left off when he got hurt, and I mean, if you can get them all three together fit, they could create some noise in the second half of the season here.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Between Bournemouth and Wolves, I think both of them you can make a case, as a bottom.
Very exciting and fun times for them.
Yeah. All right. So now we will do our team of the season player wise. Make a team, create a team. We'll do Dylan if you want to start.
All right. In goal, I have Allison. I was thinking about Vicario because I feel like he's just been fun for Spurs, but Allison just time and time again, it's number one in the league in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
A back four of I'd go Trent, Saliba, Virgil, and probably Udogie from Spurs.
I have the same back four.
And then a midfield. The midfield was the toughest for me, honestly, because I want to get like Douglas Luiz involved, but then you've also got Rodri, who just is always excellent. You've got Declan Rice. Everybody's been making a lot of noise about him. But then you could sprinkle in Bernardo if you want to put him in there. You've got Cole Palmer on a renaissance right now. But I think for my three, I'll go Rodri. I'm going to go Douglas Luiz. And I'll throw Cole Palmer in at the same.
I have the same midfield as well.
That's mad. And then up front, I'm going Salah, Son, and Haaland. I want to go Watkins or somebody else, but I mean Haaland. He's been out a month and still top of the charts, and you can see not so much with the City team, but like still even with them, how much of an impact that he is not being there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. My team is very similar, except it's Vicario and net. I'm going to give him the edge over Allison. We all know how good Allison is. And honestly, Vicario probably, he's an absolute bargain. He was an absolute bargain. I think he cost him $14 million, which is insane. Then we obviously have Trent, VVD, Saliba, Udogie. My midfield is Rodri, Douglas Luiz, and Palmer. And then I have Salah and Son on the wings. But through the middle, I actually have Jared Bowen.
I like that. All right, I'm going Allison in goal. Kind of speaks for itself. I'm going Pedro Porro as my right back.
Good shout. Good shout. It was between him or Trent.
Saliba. I just think he's very solid. And I'm going to do Pau Torres as my other center back. I think he's vital to Aston Villa's success this season. Left back. I guess I'll go Udogie. Gonna be boring. Well, I'll go Udogie. And it's crazy to say I've got two Spurs players as before. I would have probably put Trent in, but I think the defensive side of him is just not enough. Rodri at the 6, 1,000%. Feel like he's probably done everything that he should have. At the 8, honestly, might go really defensive here and go Declan Rice. I feel he's been just with Arsenal's success this year, it's been down to him doing everything. And at the 10, I'm gonna have to go Cole Palmer. I think it kind of speaks for itself. He's got the most goals as a transfer player other than Jude Bellingham in Europe, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So that's a pretty wild stat. And I'm going to go Son on the left, Salah on the right, and big Dom Solanke up top.
Ooh, I like it.
Can't go boring with the robot. I'm just going to throw a little bottom or second half of the table in with 12 goals, 1 assist for a Bournemouth team. It's pretty impressive. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that looks like it wraps up. Or no, we'll go real quick into the fixtures for the next game week, which are on January 13th. Owen, I'll ask you them, or Owen and Dylan, I'll ask you, and then I'll give mine at the end. We'll just do score predictions. That's it. Chelsea Fulham. Owen.
I'll go Chelsea 2, Fulham 1.
I'll go 3-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0 Chelsea. Clean sheet. All right, and then we got the big one. Newcastle and City. Newcastle's at home, Owen.
Go Newcastle 1, City 3.
I'll go 2-0 City win. Silence the Geordies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1, especially if Kevin De Bruyne plays, and I
Is
think
Haaland
Eddie
supposed to be
Howe's
back?
speed. Yeah, I think he'll be back. I think he'll start.
It might be 4-0
but-
at home then.
Yeah. Everton host Aston Villa.
Screams 2-2.
Everton hosts
Go.
Villa. Yeah, I can. I'm gonna go 3-2 with the either Beto or DCL late winner. Goodison erupts.
I like that. I'm gonna go 2-1. 2-1 Everton. Home team. Owen, Man United, Tottenham. United are at
I
home.
think it's going to be an ugly game. I'm going to go 2-2 again. I think it's going to be some scrappy goals. But
You think we can score
that's
2
what we
goals? We are in the
I
relegation.
think with Spurs' defensive woes, yes, I'm pretty sure they're playing fullbacks at center back. So I hope that you guys can score a couple.
We do only have 21 goals this season. So there's that. Dylan, go ahead.
It is at Spurs, you said?
No, yeah,
It's at Old
At
Trafford.
Old Trafford. I'll go for a very weird and kind of ugly 2-1 United win.
that's so funny
think-
you said that.
I
I'm
know
going
Son
for the
is
same
going to
thing.
affect them quite a bit.
I think no Son, and I don't think Mickey Van de Ven will be, probably back to a fully fit. Madison's first game back after an ankle injury. There's going to be you would think a little rust. Maybe not, but I'm going to go 2-1 United win. I think we just get all our players back at the right time, and they kind of lose Son at the right time for us. So 2-1, could be 3-1. Who knows? We could have a great day at Old Trafford. And cue the bloopers.
Clip it.
Alrighty, Burnley host Luton Town.
I think Burnley get a win 3-1.
I could see
I think they beat up on the bad teams.
2-2 draw. Or no, I think a 1-1 draw actually. I don't think this is going to be a lot of goals. I think it's going to be pretty tense and again kind of an ugly game because it's obviously they'd love to say this. It's too early for it to be a relegation 6-pointer, but a massive statement could be made. But I think they'll just share the points.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Luton, and Company is maybe a game away from being sacked if he loses this, in my opinion. Next we got Arsenal host Crystal Palace. It is an early kickoff on Saturday.
Arsenal typically do play well in the early kickoff. Sorry to say this, Dylan. I think they kind of get their mojo back, and it's a 2-1 Arsenal victory.
I'd be surprised. I want to predict a Palace win, but not just be biased and a little silly. But I think it'll just be 1-0 Arsenal. I don't know if they'll get their mojo back in full, but I could see them getting just a really bad goal because of Nathaniel Klein or Joel Ward.
I say
Pretty much
2-0.
how it goes.
2-0 Arsenal. I think Roy's on the hot seat, and I think if it goes even worse than 2-0, he could be gone. It could be the game that kind of them.
I think so. They want to. The way everything looks is that they want to wait it out till the summer. I've seen. It seems like the number one choice might be Kieran McKenna from Ipswich, which seems really exciting because he got them promoted, and then they're near the top of the championship with a bunch of League One quality players, really, and they're just playing a good brand of football.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank, obviously not somebody whose name is in trouble right now, but if Brentford can't turn this form around, I would absolutely love to see him have another chance in the Premier League.
I could see that, yeah. Well, speaking of Brentford hosts Nottingham Forest. What do we think?
I think it's going to be a boring game, 1-1.
Dylan?
I think this one has got 0-0 written all over it. Just nasty, boring. Not really any clear-cut chances either.
I'm going to go 1-1. Draw. Very boring. Very just
Here
kick the
comes a
ball.
4-3 cracker. Just
Yeah.
prepare yourselves.
Inbound 5-4.
Yeah.
All right, and next we got Sheffield United hosting West Ham, the kudos-less West Ham.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm going to go 1-1 for this one as well. I don't know why. I just feel like West Ham might fall off a little bit. Might be a little rockety there.
Is it at West Ham or at Sheffield?
At
Is that Sheffield?
I think it'll be 2-0, but I think it'll be 2-0 West Ham, but I would like to give Sheffield the like smallest inkling of hope and say they could like snatch a 1-0, but I just don't think that'll happen.
Upset of the week, Sheffield 2, West Ham 1. No Paqueta, no kudos. I think it's just away from home, 9 o'clock early kickoff. Not early, but, I think that they'll shock them. Bournemouth, Liverpool, the Salah and Endo-less Liverpool going to Bournemouth.
I still think they get their annual thrashing of Bournemouth 3-1 Liverpool.
I think that Bournemouth. I'm thinking of 4-2. Bournemouth will try and throw numbers forward, but Liverpool would just love to see that, pick them apart on the counter. Kind of similar with what happened with Spurs.
Oh, I'm going. Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm going 2-2. I think first Prem game without Mo will be a little different for Liverpool, and they concede too much. It's not like their defense is solid to where you're not really missing much. But I think with no Mo, I don't know.
Bournemouth are going to be without Sensei, their starting center back. I think yellow card accumulation or something. I got the notification for FPL. That's the only reason I know.
You think that
he's been pretty crucial for them in their recent turn of form?
Oh, and he can't serve a yellow card accumulation in FA Cup match, can he?
Yes, I think you can.
Okay, well they played QPR before that, but who knows? And
maybe not an accumulation, but yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Last but not least, Brighton host Wolves.
Match of the weekend, 3-3.
3-3.
I think Wolves. I think Wolves win this one 2-0. Brighton shut out again. And
no Huang, no Matoma in this one.
Yeah, I think Brighton are still. Is Dunk serving the last game of his suspension, or is that just today?
I think he should be back.
Okay. Well, I still think that. I think that Gary O'Neill's just going to frustrate De Zerbi, and they've got a lot of very mobile and physical players that can really frustrate. Like they're playing like Buenanote, obviously Pascal Gross, Billy Gilmore, Hinchelwood, and then old James Milner. They just got a bunch of players that Wolves could turn into passengers.
I agree. I'm going 2-2. Obviously, Brighton will concede. I don't think they'll go 2 games back-to-back of keeping a clean sheet. But for Brighton, I think they get back in Ciso maybe for this game, which is he's a good player. So, and actually, Matoma, I don't know, did he go to the Asian Games? Because they're saying he's out until mid-February. So if that's the case, then he would not be at the Asian Games.
I don't know if he got called up to the squad or not. That's a good question.
He's injured.
Do what?
Matoma's injured, but he's still included in the Japanese squad, so I don't imagine he goes.
They also lose Adingra.
He's a good player.
To AFCON. So, all right. Well, that is it. Thank you guys for listening to the Substitutes first podcast. Hopefully we'll get Andrew and Walker in on the next one.
See you guys.